live. Welcome to the Talk at 10. This is not 5 common questions. This is actually going to be talking about. Oh, why do I do that? This is actually going to be talking about vitamins and quality vitamins. Vitamins. Here we go. We'll save that, switch that over. Okay. So, what's happening is I used to think that there really wasn't a difference in the vitamins, and you could take whatever vitamin that you wanted to take. And now, granted, this was 20 plus years ago, and that was before research on vitamins and research on this stuff had went out. And so some of the things that they do to us is that they put things in that are fillers. And you really have to be careful with that because it's the fillers that cause issues. So, preface this with I think the science is still out on whether or not vaccinations cause autism and stuff like that, because we can see studies where they use the vaccination materials and there is no issue. But then when you throw in the adjuvants, the things that they use to stimulate the nervous system and the immune system, those things cause issues. Those are the fillers and the preservatives and stuff like that. So, what's the safety of those? Who knows? I mean, I have tried to distill this out and tried to get a good grasp on it, and I have no idea. I wish they could test people some way beforehand to make sure that it was safe. But let's get back to vitamins. So the things that I like is I definitely am a big fan of reading the labels. And so when you read the labels, especially on things like multivitamins and stuff like that, make sure that there's nothing like titanium dioxide in there. So titanium dioxide, let me cover the label of this. Titanium dioxide is what they use to color the pills white. This is a known carcinogen. So this means that, hi Kathy, hi Tina.
Hey, Tina.
This is the thing where we see this and we know this causes issues inside the body. Titanium dioxide is a heavy metal. Titanium dioxide does cause problems and issues in the liver and detoxification and with the kidneys and whatnot. So ways to kind of check if your vitamins are good. One is the water test. Take your vitamin, drop it in the water, and watch it dissolve. It should be able to dissolve in the water. If it's not dissolving in the water, we know through doing tests on people that, well, we were both hypochlorhydric. So we're not going to break down a vitamin that doesn't break down in water. And that's where you need to have the wherewithal to test these things. Drop a pill in water and watch it. If it dissolves, great. And if it was an expensive vitamin, drink the water. It's in there. But if the pill stays intact, that's not going to break down in your stomach. And so then you are literally wasting your vitamins because you're going to poop it out. It's going to travel through the digestive tract and come out in the feces, and you have really expensive feces. The next thing is they like to put in things that are poor forms. And there's a reason why some vitamins are cheap. If you read a carbonate form, if you read a sulfate form, these are cheap forms of vitamins and are not really readily absorbable. I see more and more people joining. If you have questions about vitamins, please ask. Or if you have a question about something else, feel free to ask. It's a lot more fun when we're interactive. So when I look at vitamins, we recently bought some vitamins to try, and I see.
I think these were actually free gifts for something I bought, but
Yeah,
I really
don't.
love the product. But based on the ingredients of this stuff, we won't be taking them.
Yeah, so we have silicon dioxide, we have titanium dioxide, and as you can see, the seal has never been broken, and they won't be taken because those are things that if you have a question, go to PubMed and type in titanium dioxide studies, or go to the National Institutes of Health and type it in, and they will come up with the cancer research.
The actual, I want to add to this,
Go
like
ahead.
this actual product, the product that I intended to buy, that these were the gifts, was actually an excellent product. I thought Trevor wasn't. I mean, it had some artificial sugars in there, but they're all probably going to have that. But I've really enjoyed the product. And this actually is probably a pretty good product minus these colors. So they really just needed to eliminate it. We're going to message them.
Yeah, and they're why they do this.
Why they need to be pink, we don't know. They
Well,
were I mean, they the product is good inside.
it makes it appealing. It's marketing, but the problem is you're going to trade a pretty color for marketing.
So if you see a pretty color, just take a second look.
Yeah, and read the ingredients. If you start seeing pound 5, if it says like red number 5 or yellow number whatever, don't take it. It's just not worth the risk. The amount of problems with that stuff are numerous. There's a reason why yellow was taken off of the market for a long time.
Red is a big problem for most people.
Yeah, autism.
And so you might think that, oh, it's just a little pill, but that actually in your system can create a lot of problems.
If you don't think something small makes a difference, try falling asleep in a room with a mosquito. It does matter. Those little itty bitty amounts. It falls back to earlier when we were talking about. Did we? I know I've talked to patients about this. I don't know if I've talked to the group about this, but when you read an ingredients list and the first ingredient is whatever. Good morning, Robin. The ingredient list.
Hey, Miss Robin.
Is done in order of concentration. So how do they make something taste good and not add a bunch of sugar to it?
Are you going to talk about the sugar where they break it down into 4 different ones?
Yes, they break it down into different types of sugar. And so when you have a dextrose and then a glucose and then a fructose,
and maltose.
Maltose, yeah, you have 3 or 4 different types of sugar. And because no one constituent is larger than the, let's say, apples, then what happens is they can list these 4 sugars back here, and that you still think the primary thing is the apple. And it's not. The primary ingredient at that point in time becomes sugar. And so if you have a question, take a glucose meter, prick your finger, drop the blood, and watch your glucose. It's that simple. Now, getting back to this, when they add these little itty bitty micro amounts of stuff, it all adds up, and it adds up to be big things. And sorry, I got to go back onto the sugar thing for a second. When you add a fructose and then a glucose, your body supplies the insulin, and you now have cancer fertilizer. And that's, go watch Robert Lustig's talk on Sugar, the Bitter Truth, because he goes through why fructose is so dangerous. And Dr. Peter Attia does a fabulous podcast with a biochemist, and they go through how they grew cancer. And it wasn't glucose by itself, it wasn't fructose by itself, and it wasn't insulin by itself. It was the combination of the 3. And that's why ketogenic diets seem to have a pretty good effect on some forms of cancer. Now, getting back to vitamins. Unfortunately, there used to be you get what you pay for. Now, marketers have figured out that people associate quality with price. So even the crappy vitamins have become more expensive. And so it really is up to you to do the due diligence or to go to somebody who you trust and ask the questions and then do a quick read of the labels. Once again, make sure there are no colors in there. Make sure there are no artificial flavors in there. Make sure there are no artificial, let's see, I said colors, I said flavors. Make sure they don't add.
Sugars.
Why would you have to add sugar to a vitamin? That makes absolutely zero sense.
I can see it for kids.
Yeah, but then they're trying to do chewables and
But
gummies.
they're chewing up grape flavors, artificial sugars, and colors.
Yep. And all
And
you're
we want to
training.
know why they're bouncing off the walls.
Well, and you're training the child at that point in time to like hyper palatable stuff. You wonder why we have a hard time getting kids to eat good foods. It's because we give them very hyper palatable foods. And it's like anything in life. If you're eating these hyper palatable foods all the time, and that it doesn't have to be candy, it can be your Big Macs, it can be your Whoppers, it can be your Taco Bell burritos. These are designed to be hyper palatable. And so your body becomes used to that hyper palatability. So if I take Jessica's shoulder and I push right here, she can feel that pain. But if I leave it here for a while, then all of a sudden she doesn't feel it anymore, even though I'm still pushing. Why? That's called an accommodation reflex. So she is accommodating to my pressure. And while she's accommodating to my pressure, I have to go harder for her to feel that. And so it's the same thing with hyperpalatable foods. If you're hitting the body with sugars and artificial stuff and things of that nature, and you think the Flintstone chewables, ooh, I probably can't call out names.
Probably not.
Oops, sorry. If you're doing chewables that are hyper palatable, I do know one of the brands that I like is Metagenics. And I know they add a little bit of monk fruit. They've started adding monk fruit to things so that they don't get an insulin response. I know they did use some artificial sweeteners, but there's been a lot of blowback by the practitioners that we've gotten away from them. And you want your kids and yourself to be eating in a way that you can eat if the world comes to an end or whatnot. So, you can drop a Metagenics vitamin into water and it'll break down.
And we know this because we've done it and because we don't give it to people unless we've tried it first.
Yeah.
We always try it first.
Yeah. Anything that we have that's on our shelves, God, we're going through another elimination diet. We started this weekend. We do it so we know what we're going to put you through if you come to us and trust us with your health. And that's just one of those things that we don't want to. Supposed to be doing my paperwork. That's one of those things that we want to know what we are going to put people through, and we want to know how, what the things are. I just feel like this morning has been one nonstop rant. In more ways than one, not just on here about vitamins, but vitamin brands that we like and that we trust. Metagenics is a good one. Those are my multis.
And you can find a link on our website for these things, or you can message us. We can talk to you about this, but your companies need to have integrity and they need to be congruent.
Oh.
And your physician needs to have integrity and be congruent. And so we aren't going to ask you to do something we also aren't going
that we
to do.
don't do. But another telltale sign is you can see manufacturing dates and lot numbers, because you should be able to find out when this was made, and then you should be able to ask for an assay. Remember, a supplement is not a vitamin that you just take. It's a supplement to an already solid diet and healthy lifestyle. You cannot take a vitamin and eat fast foods and think that it's going to do much for you, because you're going to take everything that you're taking and you're going to get rid of it, and you're going to use it up in the right now and not be able to use it in the body to rebuild stuff.
And can I add something about your vitamins?
Yeah.
So you filter these things through urine and feces, of course, but a lot of times you'll take vitamins and you urinate and you don't see them. A good vitamin, you're going to see that come out in your urine and things, so you know you're breaking it down.
Your urine should be, they say clear, but your urine should actually be a bright yellow. Why do I say bright yellow? Because you know at that point in time you're spilling things into the urine. It means your body has enough and it's getting rid of the excess. That's a good thing.
And then like these things like this,
hold on,
these toxins,
I'm just making sure.
Those are actually filtered through your liver. So these things will collect in your livers, these toxins, because that's what your liver does.
And so when we look at the vitamin packaging, nowhere on this vitamin packaging do we see a lot number, a manufactured date. They don't carry the good manufacturing policies.
And our rep stands behind these. If we call him, he answers, and he always takes care of it. If there's, I don't know that we've ever had a problem.
No.
But if we've had a question, they are
on it.
Always on it.
And so even on orthomolecular that we also carry, you know, this is just where you can now go and you can call the company and you can ask for the independent assay, independent. So it's one thing to sit here and say, here's Dr. Miller's vitamins, and Dr. Miller is doing the assay on it. So I'm going to take my vitamin from this room and I'm going to take it over there and I'm going to run my own assay on it. Because if I run an assay on it, well, biased, but then if I run an assay on this, the thing that happens is if I do it pre-tableting, I know that the vitamins, that everything should be there and it's going to be good. Good morning, Vic. But we lose nutrients and we denature the vitamin when the vitamin is compressed. And so when you compress that, it creates heat and that denatures the vitamin. Why do you want cold pressed olive oil? You want cold pressed olive oil because it doesn't denature the fats, which are very fragile in that. So at that point in time, if I do it pre-tableting, then what happens is I'm just basically taking my batches of raw material and here they all are. Oh, look, yep, they are what they say they are. And now I put them through the tableting procedure. And if I don't do a post-tablet assay, I really don't have what I need to have to say that what's in it is in it. And that's why there's a lot of probiotics out there now that do not have quality control. And that's why there is a huge push to have vitamins regulated, but we also don't want vitamins regulated by the FDA because there's just a lot of shady stuff that happens there. And so they do need to have that. And that's why the nutritional industry has good manufacturing procedures and stuff like that, and their own stamps. They're trying to self-police. But you know, that's why you pay a little more, and I pay more for the vitamins, and I've paid a lot more for vitamins, but I also know that they work, and I can, you know, do my own labs, and I get to check that, and I get to see my levels come down. Jessica's been on our vitamins, and how are your labs? And so,
oh, I had excellent labs.
I know. And so
I eat tons of fat, and my lipids were awesome.
Yeah.
Fat is not always bad.
I just had
you should notice that if you get a vitamin and you're taking it and you don't notice a difference, then find a different vitamin, because you should be able to tell a difference in a couple weeks.
Yeah. You should see, you might not feel it, but you should see nail differences. You should see hair differences. Those types of things tell you that the vitamin is being processed in bringing things out. For all you women on here that are listening, you know how many of you guys take prenatals, and the minute you start taking prenatals, even though that little baby inside of you is pulling tons of nutrients to build a body, your hair and your nails go wild. And then after you give birth, you stop taking the prenatal, and what happens?
Hair falls out.
So the prenatal works. And, you know, lots of OBGYNs carry quality vitamins. And those are the things that you have to make sure that you're getting into, because quality in every aspect matters. And I think,
And depending on, like, we can have a spectacular diet, but you're not going to be able to get every single thing every single day that you need.
yeah, and that's
So
why
we don't want you to live on vitamins and supplement your life.
I hate pill fatigue.
We prefer you eat good food, but we also know that you can't eat enough of some things,
That's why it's called a supplement.
especially your trace
Minerals.
minerals and element like the what is it, lysine and all the little things from the dirt.
The amino acids.
We don't get that stuff. So the trace things, we don't even have real soil anymore, let alone grow it, because a lot of our food is, we don't know that, but it's grown in greenhouses in water. So the trace things that we would get from soil, we don't get. So most of that has to be supplemented.
Yeah, if you look at studies on nutrient density,
Like
food
the
is
selenium and the zinc and the
zinc, copper, iron,
that's why your hair goes gray, I'm told.
copper. There's a link between copper and graying. So there are a lot of health coaches out there that are coming into the space. And don't get me wrong, I love health coaches. I'm starting to work with some. I'm bringing some in for my functional medicine patients. But talk to your health coach and ask them questions. You know, do you think the ketogenic diet is bad? Do you think being a vegan is bad? Do you think vegetarian diet is awesome? Do you ask these questions? And the reason why you ask the questions is, if they tell you that there is only one way to do things, probably not the person that you want. I'm not going to say that they're not. I don't know everybody and I don't know everything. But I can say that, okay, my experience, I had a health coach. I mentioned a ketogenic diet and they lost their ever loving mind on me. And I'm like, what is a ketogenic diet used for? And she was like, it's not, it's way too much saturated fat and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I get it. You haven't asked me what I eat on a ketogenic diet. You didn't ask me what my lipid levels were. You didn't ask me what my LP little a, you didn't ask me these questions. You just assumed that I am on this crappy diet. And guess what? You want to control insulin? Even if you do the crappy keto dirty diet, you're going to control insulin. You're going to take your lipid levels and you're going to jack them up. That is true. But you're going to.
But if you are on a keto diet and you're clean and you're eating good fats, you should not. You should see that.
When you're eating olive oil and
but
salmon.
Just because you're keto doesn't mean that you go eat your cheeseburger without the bun at the McDonald's every day.
Yeah.
And it's not a free card to go eat junk food.
Can't live on bacon.
But if you're eating a clean keto diet, it should not affect your blood levels that much. It may spike it, but it should come back down.
Yeah. You got to remember, if you wreck a car, you got to take it apart. It gets a little worse before it gets better. Burn a house. It's going to look a little worse.
I have beautiful lipids and triglycerides, and we were keto forever. And
yeah,
I drink literally tons of oil a week, and I eat sticks of pasture-raised butter. I probably eat a stick every other day.
And
probably, if not more.
and triglycerides were 67, I think is what I remember. I'm discussing your case
I don't
without
care.
your permission.
And I mean, I had beautiful lipid
Sorry.
levels and triglycerides, and I literally drank the olive oil.
Yep. And so if you give your body good quality things happen. And just because you might not be getting the result that you want, the body still knows that it has to go through a healing process, and it will go through the healing process. And that's why you supplement. Remember, supplement.
Not live on.
And that's, you know, with our functional medicine patients, we do things in 3 to 6 to 9 month increments because it takes that long to undo what we've done. And if you think I'm 50 years old, for me to undo 49 years of damage in 3 months,
That's not going to happen. But then also remember that all of your stuff doesn't necessarily come in pills because some people can't tolerate this.
yeah.
Like one, they can't swallow it. Two, once they've swallowed it, it comes right back up because vitamins can upset your stomach. Yeah, I can't. It's just, but you can find these companies also have powdered versions that you can add to your smoothies if you're a smoothie or a shake person, or you can put them in your tea or your coffee. I actually, from this company, even though this isn't a good product, probably because of that coloring, I actually really like their powdered protein shake. And it has, I got it mostly for the vitamins, and it's not gritty. It tastes fabulous, even though it has a little artificial sweeteners in it.
Well, see, and the reason why you're not taking this one is because of silicon dioxide,
Which is-
FD and C red, blue.
Which is that coloring to that pill. And I'm pretty sure if I open that up, it'd probably be an okay product.
And titanium dioxide.
But because of that coating and the color in it, and I actually am going to contact them because they actually have a really good product, but actually they didn't put it out. So I bought it just so I could see. Then I let him see it. But I am actually going to contact them and let them know how much I enjoy their product and that they would still have a fabulous product without it being pink.
Something to think about, and I think it's up to us as consumers to think about is this. Are we so weak-willed that we have to have something pretty? And it absolutely has to be palatable. I mean, I really don't think that, well, me personally, you can ask her, my coffee in the morning is sludge. I mean, there's so much stuff in it, and she doesn't like it. She doesn't drink it.
Well, my coffee is becoming sludge, but it is so good.
Yes. But for me, I just throw in what I know
You know what's
is
good.
healthy.
You don't care what it tastes like.
Yeah.
I want it to be good and taste good.
Yeah, but I'm older than you too.
Yeah.
So I have to take a little better care. And that's, you wouldn't run a Ferrari on regular gas. And so why would you treat your body, which, you know what, you can replace a Ferrari a whole lot easier than you can replace you.
Well, and also talking about vitamins, remember, like some are water soluble and some are fat. So when you're taking your fat soluble, you need to take fat with it or you won't get the best bang for your buck.
Vitamin D needs to be taken with fat.
You want to eat it with something like oil, like an oily fish or some olive oil in a little shot glass.
Or so that take your fish oil.
Yeah.
With your D.
Yeah, so that when it gets in there and you break it down, that you can actually absorb it. Because without a good fat in your system, you can't absorb your fat products, your fat vitamins.
Well, we have to get ready. Thank you for taking this time to look into the health of you and your loved ones. This broadcast does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. It is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a replacement or substitute for care. If you are having issues, please seek a qualified professional trained in functional medicine. We would be happy to be of assistance with both in-person and virtual consultations. Thank you.